stairs, you didn't feel it. Yeah. It's like a small thing that you do.
So, you guys saw my squat single from this week, 290 kilos, 639 pounds. I did hit a 295 kilo, 650 pound deadlift single too, but I forgot to record it. No bench single this week. The 290 single moved fine. 17.5 kilos less than last week. Like I said, I want to go lighter to work on depth and also technique, clean that up, and also introduce some back off volume. Been very conservative with that since I injured my knee. I'd just been doing the single and nothing else this day, but this week I did a 2x2, 225 kilos, 496 pounds. Focusing on super controlled, hitting full depth, and just making sure my knee felt fine with the volume. It did. Deadlift single, like I said, 295 kilos, 650 pounds. Moved fine, no shoes, back offs were good. Nothing special there. Solid week of training overall. So, the topic of today's video, do I use fake weights? And sadly, the answer is no, I use real weights. I do not use fake weights. I use clickbait to get more views and probably to get you to click on this video. Sorry. But I do have a very important point that ties into this theme of fake weights and is something that I don't really think gets talked about enough, not just in the lifting community, but especially among powerlifters who stand to benefit a lot from the knowledge of this, is what a difference there is between gym lifts and competition lifts. Gym equipment and the equipment you're going to use on the platform and the standards to which you have to perform. So you can use my deadlifts as a perfect example of this. In competition, my best deadlift is 672 pounds. But in the gym, I've hit 700 pounds for 5 reps, 765 pounds for 1 rep. I've gotten 805 pounds off the floor. What's the cause of this 100-pound gap? 3 things in particular when it comes to deadlifts. It's the bar, the plates, and straps. Starting with the bar. The bar you're going to use in competition, at least in the IPF, is going to be stiff. It's not going to whip much. Even with 700 pounds, there's not going to be too much whip. Contrast that with your standard commercial gym bar. Put 700 pounds on that, and it's going to whip a ton. It's cutting a ton off your range of motion. Then you move on to the plates. The plates you're going to use in the gym, they're going to be relatively thick. So when you add up to 700 pounds, it's going to be way out towards the edge of your barbell. It's going to cause even more whip. Those plates on the very outside, as you're pulling the whip out of the bar, are going to be still touching the ground. So you're not going to be pulling all the weight all at once. You're going to be able to build momentum, cut range of motion to your starting position. It's a huge difference. And then you add in straps. With straps, you can have the bar basically hanging outside of your hand. You know, that's cutting even more range of motion off. So you add it all up, and it's almost like doing a block pull of a few inches versus pulling from the floor. Huge difference in the weight you can pull. And a lot of people don't consider this. They train with straps, they train on a commercial gym bar, they use pound plates, and then they go into a competition and they just get unexpectedly stapled. And they're like, what happened? People don't realize what a difference this really makes. And you can see it in the weights I move in the gym. So those bars I load, yeah, they really do weigh 700 pounds, but there's a big difference between 700 pounds with straps, a whippy bar, and pound plates for 700 pounds on a bar that doesn't whip with thin plates held in your bare hands. Huge difference. This equipment is going to make a difference on squats too. That whip that we talked about from the stiff bar and thin plates versus a commercial gym bar, thicker plates, it's going to help a ton on your squat if you're on a commercial gym setup, because when you hit the bottom and you come back up reverse directions, the bar whips upwards, right? What that does is when you're coming out of the hole, then the bar almost has less weight on your back. It's a lot easier to push out of the hole with that whip helping you almost, and it lets you get in a more efficient position and build momentum for the hardest part of the squat, just outside of the hole. It's why you see Olympic weightlifters, when they lift, they have a whippy bar, and before they jerk, before they squat up, they want to get some oscillation, some whip. You can see it when they train squats too. They get that whip. It helps them. If it didn't help them, they wouldn't be doing it, that's for sure. And it's something people don't consider. When you get into a competition, you're going to have this stiff bar, the thin calibrated plates, and when you hit the bottom, you're not going to have that whip, and it almost feels like you're adding like 50 pounds more to the bar on your back. Honestly, that's how big a difference it really feels like. And that's only talking about the difference equipment makes. We haven't even talked about the difference the standard of the lift makes. Take squatting an inch high versus having to hit full depth on the platform, On bench, think about the relatively short pause you might do on your chest or even touch and go in the gym versus having a full pause, full motionless bar. And not only that, but it's controlled by somebody else who's going to tell you when to press. You can't really anticipate it very well because somebody else who's controlling that. Look at deadlifts. You have to fully lock out. I see tons of deadlifts where people's shoulders would probably not be called lockdown in competition. And on top of that, you have to hold it at the top before going down. So many deadlifts, every competition, are just dropped at the top. It makes a huge difference when you lift to a competition standard. So whenever you're considering lifts on the internet, seeing different lifters, take all these into consideration, the difference in the equipment, the difference of the standards of the lift, and think about what a difference it's really making of the weight on the bar. I look at my squatting competition, the 672 pounds that I hit on a calibrated setup deep. I honestly think it's more impressive than the 700-pound double I hit. And it's something that not enough people realize, not even just people who are observing the sport and trying to judge what's most impressive, but people themselves who are competing. When you are training on a gym setup, gym lifts, poor standards, poor equipment, you're only really hurting yourself. And I'm not trying to be an elitist here. I understand that not everybody's going to have access to the equipment that they're going to use in competition. But you gotta make the best of your situation you can, and it will really benefit your training if you can lift to that standard. So that's all for the video, guys. Something I've wanted to talk about for a while, something I feel doesn't get talked about enough. If you enjoyed the video and thought it was helpful, please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me grow the channel. Thanks for watching, guys.